Hello everyone, I am going to look at the second Draconis hero that we have, which is going to be Gwyneth. So Gwyneth, like I just said, is from the new Draconis faction. Also a strength-based hero. The class is a ranger, and then the primary role is continuous damage. So let's start with the ultimate skill. First we have Crystal Breath. This is a weather ability. We saw this with Baldwin. So Gwyneth shifts form, knocking down surrounding enemies and dealing damage for 200% of her attack rating. In Scale Manifest, she flies over the friendly half battlefield, unleashing a fiery breath that deals 5 hits of Dragon Speak damage for 200% of her attack rating, and triggering a crystallization storm that emanates from the center of the battlefield and crystallizes all enemies. While crystallized, enemies are immobilized and their haste is reduced by 40 points for 3 seconds. During the crystallization storm, crystals cover the battlefield, slowing the movement speed of all entities by 25%. Enemies that touch the crystals erupt them, inflicting damage for 180% of her attack rating on any nearby enemies and crystallizing them. Each subsequent crystallization storm resets the crystals and increases damage dealt by their eruptions by 20%. Only one hero in your formation can shift forms at any one time. And level 2, Gwyneth gains 400 energy at the start of battle, and then level 3 after triggering a calamity. For 6 seconds afterward, the normal attacks of allies deal additional damage for 160% of Gwyneth's attack rating and crystallizes enemies. So doing damage at the start here, also doing some crowd control and reducing haste by 40 points, which is very nice. And also the crystals cover the battlefield, slowing the movement speed of all entities. It says all entities, so I'm assuming that means both the allies and enemies that are on the battlefield. And those crystals also do some more damage here as well. So overall, this ultimate skill sounds pretty nice. Let's go ahead and look at another skill. We have Suppressing Fire. This is a passive ability. Gwyneth's normal attacks become 2-hit combos that prioritize the same enemy. Each arrow inflicts damage for 170% of Gwyneth's attack rating upon impact, the arrows explode, dealing crippling jets for 150% of Gwyneth's attack rating to nearby enemies, and stunning them for 0.6 seconds. While Gwyneth's haste or attack speed won't affect her attack frequency or focusing time, they do enhance her attack rating. Every point of haste increases her attack rating by 0.5%, while each point of attack speed increases it by 1%. And level 2, damage dealt by each arrow to the enemy is increased to 190% of her attack rating. Level 3, damage dealt by each arrow to the enemy is increased to 210% of her attack rating. And then level 4, for every point of haste, Gwyneth's attack rating is increased by 0.8%, while for every point of attack speed, her attack rating is increased by 1.6%. So instead of one normal attack, she'll get a 2-hit combo on her normal attacks, allowing her to do even more damage with those normal attacks. Also doing some crowd control here as well with the crippling jets. So her haste and attack speed can increase her attack rating. It doesn't have a limit here, so I'm assuming there is no limit to these, so you can just increase these indefinitely, which is very nice. So let's look at the third skill. We have Shattering Arrows, another passive ability. Triggers once every 10 seconds, transforming normal attacks into Shattering Arrows. Gwyneth focuses and fires arrows that pierce enemies, knocking them back along the way and dealing damage for 330% of her attack rating. If an arrow passes through any crystal, it detonates the nearest crystal, supercharging the arrow with crystal power, which enhances its impact and causes enemies hit to become crystallized. And level 2 damage is increased to 390%. Level 3, each time Shattering Arrows hits an enemy, the cooldown time is reduced by 20%. And then the first engraving skill, we have each time Shattering Arrows hits an enemy, Gwyneth's normal attacks damage is increased by 20% for the following 5 seconds. And it can be stacked up to 5 times. So these Shattering Arrows can do quite a bit of damage here. And if the arrow passes through a crystal, the enemies that are hit can become crystallized, which I'm assuming means that they will have some crowd control with that. Also buffing the normal attacks with each Shattering Arrow that hits an enemy with the first engraving skill. And then we have the final skill, a Realm of Absolution, another passive. So we have 3 passive abilities with Gwyneth here. when Gwyneth receives damage from intelligence-based enemies, she becomes immune to that damage, and for the following 6 seconds, damage from intelligence-based enemies is reduced by 80%. This effect can be triggered up to 1 time every 12 seconds. Gwyneth creates a realm of absolution around her, reducing damage from intelligence-based enemies to allies within the realm by 30%. And level 2 additionally reduces the damage from intelligence-based enemies dealt by allies in the realm by 35%. Level 3 additionally reduces damage from intelligence-based enemies dealt to allies in the realm by 40%. And then we have the second engraving skill, reduces the interval for triggering the effect to 9 seconds. Gwyneth also gains an immunity and damage reduction when non-intelligence enemies within the realm deal damage. So becoming immune to intelligence-based damage, which is very powerful, especially if you're against a team that has a lot of intelligence-based heroes. That goes on for 6 seconds, and I'm guessing the rest of the time, the damage from intelligence-based heroes is reduced by 80%. So I'm guessing Gwyneth can still take intelligence-based damage, but it will be greatly reduced. Also, with the Realm of Absolution, it allows the allies to take less damage from intelligence-based enemies, which is very nice. And let's start with the signature item. So when unlocking the signature item, arrows fired by suppressing fire can also detonate crystals and be imbued with crystal power. The plus 10, the farther Gwyneth is from enemies, the higher the damage dealt by her normal attacks, up to a maximum increase of 35%. At plus 20, when there are no enemies nearby, Gwyneth gains 15 points of physical pierce, 20 points of insight, and 75 points of accuracy. At plus 30, when a normal attack crits, each point of difference between her crit rating and the target's crit block rate increases the damage of that hit by 0.6%. And then the plus 40, when there are no enemies nearby, Gwyneth gains 30 points of physical pierce, 40 points of insight, and 150 points of accuracy. So I'm guessing Gwyneth is going to be a backline hero because of this plus 10 signature item allowing her to deal more damage. Also, she can gain a lot of physical pierce, insight, and accuracy points when there are no enemies nearby, with that plus 20 and also that plus 40 signature item. So I'm guessing definitely going to be a backline hero with that signature item. Let's go ahead and look at the furniture. So with the 3 of 3, each time an enemy is crystallized, Gwyneth's crit rating increases by 2 points and her crit damage amplification increases by 2 points up to 15 times. And then the 9 of 9 furniture, enemies in a crystallized state take 40% increased damage. If it's Dragon's Beak damage, the damage is amplified to 60%. So allowing Gwyneth to do more damage to enemies in a crystallized state. Now it doesn't say only Gwyneth can do more damage, so I'm guessing even your allied heroes can do more damage to enemies in a crystallized state, which if that is the case, that would be very powerful for a 9 of 9 furniture, I think. Also gives Gwyneth a little bit more buffs with her crit rating and also crit damage amplification. So overall, it sounds like Gwyneth is going to be a powerful hero. 2 powerful heroes. I looked at Hadwin in the last video, and I'm now looking at Gwyneth. It seems like so far the Draconic class is going to be a very powerful faction. But we still have at least 3 more heroes, 3 more of the Ascended tier heroes to go through. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to look at the Legendary tier hero that we have and also the Common tier heroes just to see their skills, but yeah, we still have at least 3 more heroes to look at. And if you like this video, then make sure to click the like button, also subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video from me. And also comment what do you think about Gwyneth, and thanks for watching.